The Goodyear City Council meeting. We're excited to have you be a part of this important public process. Tonight, you will have the opportunity to address City Council on both non-agenda and agenda items. You must fill out a speaker request card in order to address the City Council. The agendas and speaker request cards are located in the back of the council chambers. Please drop your completed card in the tray next to the blank speaker cards. If the meeting has already begun, please hand it to the city employee at the back of the room. You may check the "I do not wish to speak" option on the card. This allows you to let council know your opinion without having to speak. In accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, please contact a staff member if you need any assistance. Public comment on a non-agenda item will take place during the citizen comment portion of the evening. These are items that don't appear on tonight's formal agenda. The city clerk will call your name when it's time for you to speak. At that time, please approach the podium and tell us your name for the record. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes. The timer is on the screens visible from the podium. Note that you may also choose not to speak if other speakers before you have said what you wanted to say. Shouting, cheering, and loud noises will not be tolerated, and violators may be removed for disrupting the meeting. Goodyear City Council meetings stream live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and online at goodyearaz.gov. Follow the city's social media pages so you don't miss out on all that's happening in Goodyear. Thank you for coming to this meeting and being an active part of your city. And remember, it's a great time to be in Goodyear.
I'd like to call a regular meeting to order for April 28th, 2025. It's Mark who's present. I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to excuse Councilmember Gillis. I hear a motion. Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. With that, would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty Father, I ask that you provide wisdom to all of us on the City Council so we may make wise decisions for our community. I also ask that you help heal this nation which suffers from a lack of civility so that we can come together as a nation and work towards a more civil society for the betterment of all. Please protect our men and women in uniform serving here and overseas from injury and provide those in the meeting safe passage home. In your name, amen.
Amen.
We have 2 communication items tonight. We will now recognize Millennium High School girls basketball team, followed by a proclamation recognizing the Week of Young Child. With the girls basketball team, please join me in the well to be recognized. And what I'm going to ask of council is when we get done with the 2 proclamations, we will ask for feedback, but meanwhile, we'll do some pictures in between, okay? All right. Come on down in the well.
You just Whereas the Mayor and Council of the City of Goodyear recognize the 2024-2025 Millennium High School girls basketball team for their outstanding dedication and effort in claiming its first ever Open State Championship title, the AIA's highest level playoff bracket in girls basketball. And whereas this is the Lady Tigers' 5th state basketball title, previously being the first team in Arizona's history to win 4 consecutive state titles for AIA large school classifications. And whereas on March 8th, 2025, Millennium rose to the challenge and beat Valley Vista Monsoon by a score of 57-31, dominating the last game of the season both offensively and defensively. And whereas the Lady Tigers finished the season on a 12-game winning streak with a 24-6 record and won 10 of those games by 21 points or more against some of the toughest matchups in Arizona. And whereas the hard work, determination, sportsmanship, and talent of this team has established a tradition of excellence proven in the recognition of Destiny Lunan as the Gatorade Player of the Year, the most prestigious individual award a person can win, marking this as the second time in school history a Millennium athlete has received this honor. And whereas this team's dedication and spirit has brought much recognition and honor to Millennium High School, the Agua Fria Union High School District, the City of Goodyear, and the entire West Valley, now therefore be it resolved that Joe Pizzillo, Mayor of Goodyear, Arizona, does hereby recognize and extend congratulations to the Millennium Girls High School basketball team on this outstanding achievement. Congratulations.
Come on down.
Ditto. Thank you guys for having us here. This is an amazing group of young ladies, those that are here and those that are not here. And also, whereas Team GPA was 3.9 for the year, and whereas these girls work nonstop so hard and represent their school and community to the best possible.
Thank you.
Oh, and whereas kindliness.
Sure.
Or wants to come over here?
Yeah, just
Come over here. We get behind them all.
Can you see us? No, you're fine. You're fine. No,
Some
I'm
of us.
standing up.
Some of us, yeah.
No, there's some more. Wait a minute.
School
Wait a minute.
paper.
There's moms in the back. So hang on a second.
Good?
All right. Good job.
Congratulations, ladies. And now I'd like to ask Annette Bourne to join the mayor in the well. Whereas all of Arizona's children deserve access to quality early child care education, known as ECE, and whereas quality child care programs build children's lifelong learning skills during the critical years from birth to age 5, and whereas ECE teachers and child care providers are the essential workforce that helps Arizona parents get to work or school, and whereas funding quality child care is a smart investment that improves family well-being, strengthens communities, and grows our state's prosperity, and whereas first things first, Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children, Southern Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children, and other community organizations in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children are celebrating the 54th anniversary of the Week of the Young Child. And whereas these organizations are working to improve equitable early childhood opportunities that provide a strong start for children in Goodyear, and whereas public policies that support ECE for Arizona's youngest learners help our families, communities, and the economy thrive. Now, therefore, Mayor Joe Pizzillo does hereby proclaim the Week of the Young Child in Goodyear, Arizona, and encourages all citizens to invest in early care and education in our community. Congratulations.
Mike is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. It's a pleasure to be here as a current and longstanding West Valley resident. I live in Goodyear, and I raise my 3 little ones. One of them is right in the public, joining me with us tonight. She's now embarrassed. But it matters, and it means a lot to come together as a community. It takes a village to raise children. It takes a village, and it's with partnerships like this with our local municipalities, our investments and our different programs that we have, especially in the West Valley. It just means a lot to have a city like the city of Goodyear really recognize the importance of families with young children, because they grow up to be teenagers in our high schools and future city council members. And so thank you for the honor of proclamating the Week of the Young Child with us.
Thank you.
Everybody?
Congratulations.
Let's see what we got here. Now is the time for members of the public who wish to address the city council on any non-agenda item within the jurisdiction of City of Goodyear. Any speaker cards?
We have one speaker, Mayor,
Okay.
Kim Baker.
Before you speak, Ken, the council can listen to comments, may take any one of the following: respond to criticism, request that staff investigate and report on the matter, request the matter be scheduled on a future agenda. You have 3 minutes, and the screen will tell you when it starts getting down, 20 seconds. Just state your name and whether you're a Goodyear resident. You don't have to give the address.
Okay, excuse me. My name is Kim, K-A-M,
Okay.
Baker. And I want to start with, I had a stroke about 2 years ago. I'm recovering now. But I'm here to offer a citizen's petition, right? Because I live in Goodyear, but I've had a bad time here. I got a package for all of you. On April 1st, I sent a text to my manager of the house I live at, right? And he received it and said, okay, you read what he said. And then April 25th, he sent me an email talking about a bunch of mess. And I was like, wait a minute. On the 1st, I gave you my notice that I was leaving. You received it. Now you're smearing my name. The petition talks about nefarious actions. What he's done is not right. And, excuse me, I came here. I'm not afraid. I'm encouraged, really, to be here, to be able to talk. So I'm taking my fight about this situation to you guys, because the homeowners association that I live in, he's not right. So I'm here today because if they do it to me, and he know I had a stroke, what will he do to some other person. So I'm here to offer this petition to everyone.
Okay, the city clerk will grab that. Meanwhile, does she have all your information to get a hold of you?
Just my email.
Okay, but she has that? You have all that? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we'll be in contact. Okay, now we've got a consent agenda here, 3 through 8, but it's 8 is the one we have the question on? 8? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull 8 separately, and we'll have a discussion on 8 separately. So will the city clerk please read consent agenda? Well, let me first ask, does anybody else have any other issues other than 8? Okay, so will the city clerk please read consent agenda items 3 through 7, please?
Item 3, approval of minutes. Item 4, approve budget amendments and related expenditure authority. Item 5, approve the memorandum of understanding with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety and provide authorization and direction to take action and execute documents necessary to carry out the intent of the agreement. Item 6, adopt the 2024 Integrated Water Master Plan. Item 7, adopt resolution number 2025-2461, vacating and abandoning a portion of right-of-way located along the midsection line within Section 23, Township 2, North, Range 2, West.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second for the consent items 3 through 7? 3 through 7 is there, all right. I guess open for any discussion. All right, 3 through 7, can I open up for a vote? Passes 6-0. Okay, thank you. Now can we go ahead and get a presentation on 8, and then we'll open it up for discussion once we get a motion on the table, okay?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Item number 8 is a procurement code update. We had a work session about 3 weeks ago on this topic. Specifically, we're looking to update sections 3-4, 3-5, and 3-6 of our city code, commonly referred to as the procurement code. It was last updated in September of 2008, which means it's old enough to drive now. 3 main categories that we're looking at. First is administrative. We're looking to update language and improve the clarity, definitions as well. We're updating also alignment with other sections. We spoke specifically about some of the surplus property and some of the other sections in the code. We also talked about the expenditure authority, and the code update will now establish an exhibit that will be adopted with the budget. That'll include all items over $500,000. You see an example of a sneak preview of what you will see in May when we bring the tentative budget back in front of council. Finally, we have thresholds, 2 major areas. First, the formal procurement threshold would move from $50,000 to $100,000. Formal procurements are essentially managed by the procurement office, have specific advertisement, scheduling, review and evaluation rules that we have set up. And then second, we have the job order contract, moving it from $1 million to $5 million. Technically, right now, our code has no threshold, and we use the state threshold of $1 million. This would establish a city threshold of $5 million within our code. Job order contracting is essentially on-call construction services that allows us to speed up some of the construction of more common projects that we may have. None of these thresholds would override the budget or the expenditure authority that is going to be adopted by council. So for instance, if we have a project that has a budget of $2 million, it doesn't mean that we get to spend $5 million on that project, because if we have the job order contract threshold at that amount, we would need to do a budget amendment and also update the expenditure authority for that project. So with that, I'll open it to any questions, looking to amend the sections 3-4, 3-5, and 3-6 of the city code.
Okay, first, can I go ahead and get a motion? Oh, let me read this. Adopt ordinance number 2025-1630, amending Articles 3-4, 3-5, and 3-6 of Goodyear City Code related to the procurement code. Can I get a motion and a second? I see a motion and a second on the board, open for discussion. First one up is Councilmember Beckles.
I have no objection to everything in the code, with the exception of going from 1 million to 5 million. My request is 3 million would be more suitable.
Thank you. Next up is Councilmember Kano.
Well, first off, I want to say I'm all for updating codes and policies and procedures. I mean, all that is very important. I support the 100% increase in the formal procurement. I mean, I think you just have to even adjust for inflation on that. But I have concerns about the jump from 1 million to 500 million. It's, or 5 billion, sorry. That would do the math, yeah. A 400% increase. A lot of money runs through procurement, and I would prefer that our process be vetted by our internal auditor. If it's structurally sound, then by all means, let's upgrade it. But the idea is, well, we have to go ahead and increase it, and then, well, if there's a problem, we'll have the auditor catch it. I think we should flip it around.
Go ahead, Councilmember.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Jared, can you just explain why you went from 1 to 5? It's
Yeah.
got to be fairly simple.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor. So when we were looking at moving that threshold, one of the things we looked at is what other cities have as their threshold, and that there are some cities that have $5 million as their threshold. And why it's important for us, at least on our recommendation, to match those is it allows us to potentially piggyback off of those other cities' contracts at $5 million. So that's the main reason behind why we use the $5 million threshold.
The only question I have, number one, is if the budget is 3 million, you cannot, like you mentioned, go above 3 million. So the money's budgeted. So it's a matter of hitting a job order that's already been approved through the state that you could only tie into. And if you don't do that, then hopefully somebody picks that up afterwards. But that's how that has to happen, right? So whether it's 1 million or 5 million, it has to do with what it's actually authorized that we have passed, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. With that, anything else? Go ahead and open up the voting. Passes 4-2. Thank you. All right, with that, let's see, consent agenda. We have 2 public hearings tonight. First one's to consider a rezoning of approximately 237 acres from the Las Palmas pad to I-10 Citrus Gateway PAD. Open the public hearing. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Guadalupe Ortiz Cortez, Principal Planner. Before you this evening is a rezoning request for I-10 Citrus Gateway. The subject property is approximately 267 acres. The property is located west of Citrus Road, south of Roosevelt Street, in an unincorporated residential neighborhood in Maricopa County. It is located east of Perryville Road in a row of homes also located within unincorporated Maricopa County. It is also located north of West Van Buren Street and the Destiny RV Resort. The red dashed line on the map shows the boundary between the city of Goodyear, Maricopa County, and the city of Buckeye. The property has had a residential planned area development, or PAD zoning, since 2003, when it was rezoned from AU, agricultural urban, to the Las Palmas PAD. In 2022, the City Council approved a PAD amendment to rezone the property to R14, R16 single-family detached, and C2 general commercial zoning. Currently, the property cannot be subdivided due to Arizona Water Company's water designation limitations. Additionally, the property is located within the Luke Air Force Base graduated density contours. This limits the number of units per acre the property can build, such that the west side of the property has a recommended 0 to 2 dwelling units per acre, and the east side of the property has a recommended 0 to 4 dwelling units per acre. Last year, the City Council approved a major general plan amendment for the property. The major general plan amendment changed the property's land use designation from neighborhoods to business and commerce. The business and commerce land use designation permits various zonings, such as higher density multifamily, commercial, business park, and light industrial. However, due to the property's location within the Luke Air Force Base density contours, as we saw in the last slide, higher density multifamily would not be permitted use on the property. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property from the Las Palmas PAD to the I-10 Citrus Gateway PAD to allow a mix of business park, light industrial park, and general commercial district uses on the property. Shown on the screen is the proposed land use district for the I-10 Citrus Gateway PAD. The PAD would allow business park uses across the entire property. The business park district was created by the city and approved by City Council in 2023 to provide an option for commercial and employment uses with the need for loading and dock doors on only one side of the building, facing internally to the site and screened from public view. The business park district would allow uses such as professional offices, data centers, indoor entertainment, manufacturing, retail, restaurants, and warehouses. The PAD proposal includes the option to develop business park district uses or commercial uses adjacent to Citrus Road and also on the southwest corner of the site as shown in peach on the screen. The commercial zoning would allow uses such as automobile repair shops, banks, retail, restaurants, bus terminals, art studios, and funeral homes. Additionally, the proposed land use district map for the PAD includes the option to develop business park, light industrial uses, 300 feet inward of the site, as shown in hot pink on the image here. The additional light industrial zoning would allow uses such as manufacturing, offices, parking lots, research facilities, and cross-dock warehouses. The PAD property provides the option to develop either business park, commercial uses, or light industrial uses generally located 300 feet inward from the southwest corner of the site and generally located 300 feet inward from the perimeter of the site along Citrus Road, shown in purple on the map. All of the districts would follow the setbacks provided in the zoning ordinance and codified in the PAD, including additional setbacks adjacent to residential uses for the business park and commercial districts, which are the districts that the applicant is proposing along the perimeter of the site. For example, a building located along the western side of the property adjacent to single-family residential and with a building height of 56 feet, which is the maximum building height for commercial or business park district uses, would be required to provide a minimum building setback of 180 feet. And this would include a 50-foot landscape setback that the applicant is committing to provide along the western, southern, and northern boundaries adjacent or in proximity to residential. Additionally, the applicant is proposing to develop a frontage road along West Roosevelt Street to separate local residential traffic from traffic generated from the site, mitigating any potential traffic impacts to the residential neighborhood to the north and addressing resident concerns. The applicant is proposing to allow wireless communication facilities on all districts. The applicant added this use to their application after receiving feedback from nearby residents regarding connectivity issues in the area. The PAD also prohibits a few uses on the property. The PAD, as mentioned earlier, maintains the business park and commercial maximum building height of 56, 300 feet inward from the project property line that is shown on the map by the peach and green areas. The applicant is proposing to increase the maximum building height to 70 feet for all districts, 300 feet inward of the project's property line. And additionally, the applicant is proposing the option to pursue a use permit application to increase the building height to 100 feet for all districts when 300 feet inward of the project boundary. So it would be the areas in hot pink and purple here that would be allowed a 70-foot building maximum height with the option to pursue a use permit for 100 feet. The use permit application would allow staff and the city council the opportunity to respond to the use permit proposal and consider any surrounding context at that time. Per the Business Park District, the developer is required to provide a minimum of 5% of the net site for recreation open space. As such, the applicant is proposing a 10-foot wide multi-use trail along the northern, eastern, and southern boundaries of the project, and provide a minimum of 10 amenities throughout the trail. The citizen review and public hearing processes were followed. As you may recall from the major general plan amendment public hearing last year, nearby residents had various concerns. And following that public hearing, the applicant, through robust outreach efforts, continued to work with the community to address their concerns. The neighborhood meeting for the rezoning was held on January 22nd and was attended by 7 nearby residents. At the meeting, attendees had discussions with the applicant regarding the frontage road, including egress and ingress access into their properties from Roosevelt Street and that frontage road. Staff received 1 letter of support from a neighbor resident. In the letter, the resident indicated that the applicant worked with her and her husband to address their concerns. At the public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission earlier this month, 4 speaker cards were submitted in support of the project. Staff believes that the proposed rezoning request is in conformance with the evaluation criteria provided in the zoning ordinance and detailed in the staff report. Staff and the Planning Commission recommend the City Council adopt ordinance number 2025-1631, conditionally rezoning the 267 acres to the I-10 Citrus Gateway PAD. Mayor, council members, this concludes staff's presentation. I am available to answer any questions, and the applicant is also in attendance tonight.
It's my understanding the applicant wants to do a presentation. Is that true?
At your pleasure, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, why don't you hang loose and we'll see if there's any questions on that, okay?
Sounds great.
All right. With that being said, anybody in the audience like to speak? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Can you go ahead and read the ordinance?
Adopt ordinance number 2025-1631, conditionally rezoning approximately 267 acres located at the southwest corner of North Citrus Road and West Roosevelt Street to be known as I-10 Citrus Gateway from the Las Palmas Planned Area Development PAD to the I-10 Citrus Gateway PAD.
Okay, thank you. I see a motion and a second on the board. Open it up for discussion. First one up is Councilmember Kano.
Guadalupe, I want to thank you for the thorough recap of the history of that project. It's very helpful to cover the ground that we've been and what brings us here today. I just have a comment. I want to thank the applicant because they've really been responsive to the concerns of the residents. That did come up earlier when we were contemplating this project. And the applicants or the residents really wanted more access to better Wi-Fi connectivity, which the applicant has responded to. I totally concur with your prohibited uses, all very appropriate. You've really put in some really good buffers, but I think you've really gone above and beyond on the Roosevelt frontage road, addressing the residents' concerns about traffic safety, school bus safety, and such. So I just wanted to thank you publicly for your responsiveness to the resident concerns, and this looks to be a very good project.
Thank you. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I have a couple questions. Can you put the map back up? Can you put the map back up? I have a couple of questions, please. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this property I know has been before me several times. And every time we rezone it and then it comes back and we rezone it again. So how did we get to where we are today saying that part of it was in the loop, no-fly zone, and we had approved apartments for that when we know we can't do that? Did that just happen to get through council one time and we missed it?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor, council members. The property was, or is currently rezoned Las Palmas PAD, which allows for single-family homes. The PAD did not have multifamily, but it did have a section that was zoned for commercial uses.
Okay, and then the homes that are built on Perryville, it seems to me those are all county islands. And it looks like they're not clustered together, they're separated and they're out in the, just scattered about on the boundaries of this area. Is this correct? It's not a subdivision?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor. That is correct. The homes are on their individual lots. It is not a subdivision or a neighborhood altogether.
Okay, so obviously, because where they are, they knew this land was going to be developed someday, sometime, somehow, and they just didn't know what was going to come out there. So, and this has always been within the Goodyear city limit boundary, correct?
I believe that is correct. I don't have the exact date of any annexation, yes.
Okay, so all we're going to do is just say that they can go light industrial or whatever here, and then they'll come back with their plans where we'll have the discussion on the egress of how they're going to get out of the project, either on Roosevelt or Citrus or whatever. We're not limiting any of that right now. Is that correct? All we're doing is saying, you're not going to be both houses, but you can do light industrial.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor. That is correct right now. Tonight, we're looking at the rezoning, and a site plan could be submitted in the future.
Very good. Thanks very much.
Go ahead, Terry.
Thank you. I just kind of wanted to reemphasize a few things that were said earlier, complimenting the applicant on working with the community there. Guadalupe, I know it's hard to ask sort of what, I like that this map is up. Across the street to the west on Perryville is the city of Buckeye. And to my knowledge, I don't know if you can confirm or if the applicant can confirm, I believe they've zoned that area for industrial, and there's industrial development that's going to be happening just to the west of this as well. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Terry. The property to the west is within the city of Buckeye, as you mentioned, and it has uses approved for industrial. There is an Amazon north of the I-10, and across the street on Citrus, it is currently zoned for mixed uses, including an approved industrial project, the 10 Goodyear project.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me, you know, going throughout the community here. Goodyear is very unique with our two major airports, Luke Air Force Base and then the Goodyear Airport, and we are very limited on the development that can occur in those areas. And, you know, bringing businesses, tax support to the city is a great development. My major concern, and I know I discussed this with the applicant previously, is the roads, the ingress, the egress, not only on Citrus, but on Perryville as well. Can we just, or can you describe again, I didn't really catch it as much in your presentation, but what's exactly going to be happening with Roosevelt Street there? I know it was mentioned about a frontage road, but for the public, can we discuss that a little bit?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Terry. If it's okay with the applicant, I believe that her presentation does include additional information on the frontage road.
Then, Mayor, if that's okay, I would like to see that.
That's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, Wendy Riddell with the law firm Barry Riddell, 6750 East Camelback. Pleasure to be here on Citrus Gateway. I'm going to, see if it let me jump to a slide. I might have to do this the old-fashioned way. Jump ahead to 17, here we go, or 19. I believe, Councilmember Terry, you asked about Perryville. When you look at the improvements that we're making along Roosevelt, that frontage road, ultimately shifting Roosevelt to the south into our project, then we need to bring it back up towards Perryville to meet that intersection. We were able to confirm that the Perryville intersection is signalized. In fact, that signal is actually in today.
Yeah, that was just one of my concerns because I know they have, responsible for the improvements along Citrus. But when you think about any sort of industrial vehicle deciding to go, for example, the Port of Los Angeles, I doubt they're going to head east very far before they turn west. So that was important to me. I appreciate that. And I have no further questions other than saying I appreciate all the effort to work with the community and the surrounding community, not only to work with them, but get the support of quite a few of them as well. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hampton?
Yeah, much others to say. Thank you so much for the hard work that you put into this to make it accommodating for the residents and looking at the whole big picture for that general area there. I think this project will do well there. I think a lot of our business owners and people in the community would like to have more options for to start their businesses, to grow their businesses, and be able to utilize this area with access to the freeways and the general area there as well. So thank you for working with the team.
Thank you.
The only thing I'd like to add is, since Councilmember, Kano already beat me to the punch, I'm 100% behind what you already said. I appreciate the additional effort that the developer put into this project, especially to relieve some of the concerns of the neighbors too off of Northville. So thank you very much for stepping up. I really do appreciate that, being part of the community and working with the residents to do that. So with that, let's open it up for a vote.
Mayor, if I may, we did receive a speaker card during discussion.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Ana Olivares?
Mayor, we already opened it up to the public, and the public hearing has been closed.
Okay. All right, with that, open the vote. Passes 6-0. Thank you. And again, really do appreciate your effort and smoothing over with the residents on that. Thank you. All right, with that, the last public hearing is consider the Penske truck leasing annexation. We'll open the public hearing. Please introduce yourself for the public.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Katie Wilkin, Development Services Director. I'm going to let everyone leave for one moment so you can hear. I wanted to introduce this item as we have several annexation cases on the agenda tonight, and the annexation cases do follow a very unique process as they have 3 touch points by City Council throughout the annexation. This next case, the Penske annexation case, has already been before you 2 times already, so this is the 3rd and final time it'll be before you for actual action on the annexation ordinance itself. And so with that, I would like to introduce Justin Gabrielson, Senior Planner, who will present the case to you.
Let's hope this one goes a little better than my last one. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm here before you this evening with a request from the applicant Penske. This is the 3rd time, like Katie mentioned, that this has been presented to you. We received council authorization on October 7th, 2024, and it had its first public hearing back on February 10th, 2025. The annexation is for a 4.92 acre lot along West McDowell Road, just west of the 183rd lane alignment, immediately adjacent to Goodyear corporate limits and completely surrounded by Goodyear corporate limits. If the annexation is approved by council and the underlying owners, Penske would then seek to construct additional parking spaces for their Penske operations currently under development in the city and do so to Goodyear city standards. The city's general plan designates this area as neighborhood. However, the existing county zoning for this property is industrial 2. If the annexation is completed, the property would be designated to the city equivalent zoning district, which would be I2 General Industrial Park. If the property were to be developed in the county, they may develop to their standards, to their industrial standards, and the city would not benefit from any of their improvements. Staff is seeking council's approval of the annexation of approximately 4.92 acres along West McDowell Road, just west of the 183rd lane alignment, west of McDowell, yep. And I'm prepared to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Anybody in the audience like to speak? No? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. City Clerk, please read ordinance number 2025-1632 by title only.
Adopt ordinance number 2025-1632, extending and increasing the corporate limits of the city of Goodyear, Maricopa County, state of Arizona, by annexing approximately 4.92 acres of property generally located on the south side of West McDowell Road, just west of the 183rd Drive alignment.
Thank you. City Council, enter a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance 2025-1632. I see a motion and a second on the board, open for discussion. First up, Councilmember Hampton.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this to us again. This makes sense in this location. I just want to ask clarification. Do they foresee it being only parking spaces?
I
The
believe so.
entire parcel?
Yeah, it would just be Councilmember, it would just be additional parking for their trucks, waiting for rental.
So it'll be a paved or a,
Paved, yeah, it would be an improved surface.
okay. It makes sense. I mean, that's what they do. So I'm just curious if the entire parcel was a pavement, so parking lot. Okay. I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Anything else? With that, open for vote. Passes 6-0. Thank you. We have 3 items on business. We'd like to remind council, wait for a motion a second before discussion. First up is the IGA for the annexation and provision of city services to Liberty Elementary School District number 25. Just go ahead and introduce yourself for the public.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Keeney Knutson. I'm Deputy City Manager here in City of Goodyear. And I'm here tonight to provide an overview of the intergovernmental agreement that we're here tonight to ask council's approval of. So this is a little bit unique in the fact that I'm up here, but I'm up here because I'm representing the work of a lot of good city staff on this, between our development services team, our water services team, our legal services, engineering, and our development agreement coordinator, Brandy Scott, as well. I'd also like to acknowledge Liberty Elementary School District's Executive Director of Operations, Bob Young, who's also in the audience as well. So we've been working with them for a number of months on this intergovernmental agreement. This is not to ask for annexation at this time. This is just about approval of the IGA. So a little bit about this location. The Liberty School site is outside the city and Liberty has requested that it be annexed into the city. So staff did bring this to council to talk about the initial steps of annexation back in September of last year. But because we have 2 new council members as well, which can have a little bit of background, a little bit to this case and what we're talking about tonight. So this was not Liberty's first school site. They were originally scheduled to have part of this built in half of Amber Meadows development and the other half in La Privada. So you can see the previous location up here in blue. The location we're talking about is generally bounded by Perryville on the west, Citrus on the east, Lower Buckeye on the south, and Van Buren on the north. But the problem was with those 2 developments, they didn't line up with Liberty's timing for their school site. So they had to look for an alternative site. So the green location down there at Lower Buckeye is the one that we're looking at right now. So they came here to ask for annexation because they do need to access city services. And so they need to be within the city to be able to get annexed, to be able to access those city services. I would note, because this is a new school site, but it is a school we plan to have in, we did have it as part of our water portfolio. We did have plans to be able to provide water to a school site in this general location. I would also mention that it is in the Roosevelt Irrigation District area, so they do have the opportunity to be able to take advantage of irrigation water for their irrigation needs as well. So a little bit about this. This slide focuses directly on that site. You can see bounded in red, the site that's on Lower Buckeye on the south, and then 183rd Avenue on the east. And so it is a 16-acre site and currently an unincorporated area of the county. So this actually overlays the site plan for the school on the red bounded area. It encompasses 5 buildings. They expect about 850 students at build out. They have the opportunity to be able to build for future expansion on the site as well. And then they have, as I mentioned, have requested to be annexed into the city so they can access city services, including police, fire, water, and wastewater. This is not trying to confuse you, but this is a blow-up of that site plan. It rotated 90 degrees, so you see Lower Buckeye on the west now, or on the left-hand side, and 183rd Avenue on the bottom. But you can see the general layout of this. You can see the parking areas, the parent drop-off and pickup, the 5 buildings that are currently under construction there, and then the bus pickup and drop-off as well. This is a recent aerial photo of the site. This is looking south, so you have 183rd Avenue on the left, Lower Buckeye off in the road off in the distance, and you can see the progress they're making on the construction of the school. So the terms of the IGA that we're bringing here tonight is the first one is construction. It requires Liberty to construct half-street improvements, and that's on Lower Buckeye Road. They're along their frontage, and as well as 183rd Avenue on their frontage on the east side. They also are required to provide 2 points of access because, as you know, with schools, pick up and drop off, there's a lot of traffic during that time. So their 2 points of access are off of Durango on the north and Lower Buckeye Road on the south. They're also required to provide construct a traffic signal as part of the development at 183rd Avenue and Lower Buckeye Road, and that is due to the traffic that's going to be generated with the operation of the school. And then finally, they're going to have to provide all the other infrastructure improvements, which primarily revolve around water and sewer infrastructure, to be delivering water services to and take out sewer services from that site. On the city's responsibilities, we're bound to be able to bring to you a future annexation case or a request for the property once Liberty has completed all of the items within the intergovernmental agreement, if it's approved tonight. The city has already worked on helping review the plans that are under construction, and we're also providing inspection services for that project. And then finally, once annexed into the city or once they complete all the IGA, we would be providing them water and wastewater services for the property. So the steps forward from here tonight, if you approve the IGA, that we would be work on executing the IGA and get that formalized. I would let you know that Liberty already received approval from their governing board earlier this month. The next steps also would be working on the annexation process and completing that. And then note that the Liberty is planning on opening the school in the summer, August. So they want to have it open for students next school year. So the action required here, or requested tonight, is to approve the proposed intergovernmental agreement for the annexation and provision of city services to Liberty Elementary School District number 25 property. And with that, I'll be more than happy to entertain any questions that council may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience want to speak? Do we have any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
None? All right, with that, City Clerk, please read Resolution 2025-24, 62 by title only.
Adopt Resolution Number 2025-2462, approving the intergovernmental agreement for the annexation and provision of city services to Liberty Elementary School District Number 25 property.
All right, council, entering motion in a second, 2025-2462. I see a motion and a second up on the board, open for discussion. First up is Vice Mayor.
I just have a quick question. If we approve the annexation, is this going to cause us to have to put another fire department down there or a police substation or any of, is that because that's going to be a huge monetary?
So Mayor, Vice Mayor
Against
Campbell,
us.
members of council, when we were working through planning for this site and be able to work on annexation, we worked with all the city departments on potential services that we needed, and we wanted to make sure that they were able to contribute if necessary. And so we feel that the IGA encompasses all the things that need to be required for this.
And we basically are just giving them the water.
Water and sewer, and then
sewer.
and then access to the city streets as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Next one up, Councilmember Kano.
Thank you for listing out in the presentation what is the city's responsibility and what is Liberty's responsibility. Makes it really clear. It's very ambitious. School is supposed to start in August. How much has to be done, and can it be done? I mean, May is this week.
So, Mayor and Councilmember Kano and members of the council, they have been working on this because we know we weren't able to do this sequentially. We had to work a lot concurrently. So they have been working on site since it's already in the county. They have been working with Maricopa County on a lot of the inspections and working through the construction aspect of it. We wanted to be in a position where we could be flexible to help them along. Essentially, once they get to the point of completing their portions of the IGA and getting ready to open, I think that's when we can be a little bit flexible on the annexation timeframe. We anticipate that being able to provide water and sewer primarily when they've completed their infrastructure work, pay the in lieu fee that's part of the IGA as well. And so we feel comfortable that we're going to get there, but we'll work in partnership with them along the way. We know it is ambitious.
Yeah, August is not far away. Thank you.
Go on, Councilmember Hampton.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you helping the school district out. I know that they had some issues with even finding land at one point and the time schedules and things of that nature. So, yeah, I appreciate your work, parallel path, working at all different angles to get them hopefully to be able to build their school here sooner than later. So thank you for that. And I'm sure you've already done the analysis around do we have enough water to support and all this user in this area here too. So I know there was a big, years ago, just getting wastewater through there was a big ordeal with all the developments out there. So thank you for working with them.
Councilmember Terry.
Yeah, thank you. As some of you know, in a past life, I served on a school board and had to work with cities as far as annexation. And I just want to emphasize probably the most important point to me is these are going to primarily be Goodyear kids attending this school. And one of the reasons annexation is most important is because MCSO cannot provide police coverage. Rural fire cannot provide the fire coverage to the extent that our residents deserve, those kids deserve. And so making sure that, our police, our fire are either there already or close by in case of, anything at all that goes on is probably paramount to me when it comes to our schools. So just wanted to emphasize that this annexation allows a smooth transmission of those services as needed. So with that, I will end it there.
Councilmember Beckles.
No, I just wanted to say this looks very ambitious, but we thank you for moving ahead and pushing forward to give our children a good school experience. That's all.
Great discussion from the City Council. I have nothing else to add. With that, let's open up the vote. Passes 6-0. Thank you. Next, consider annexation near Perryville and Yuma Road. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Katie Wilkin, Development Services Director. As I said on the previous annexation, the next two items before you are both annexation cases. And as I said on the previous case, annexation does follow a unique process in that you are going to see it 3 times. The first time you see it is on business, and it's an initial assessment of the annexation. And at that time, council takes action on whether or not to authorize staff to proceed. If it does proceed, you're going to see the case 2 more times at public hearing. So the next 2 cases are at that initial step, which means you're going to be hearing an initial assessment from staff on these 2 annexation cases. If staff is not authorized to proceed, the case will be closed and it will not move forward any longer. If we are authorized to proceed, then we will continue our evaluation, including evaluating any concerns you may voice on the cases. We will work with the applicant on anything you discuss tonight and give us direction on. And it is important to note that authorizing staff to proceed with the continued evaluation does not in any way obligate you to actually annex the property. That decision is made later at the final public hearing like you did earlier tonight on the Penske annexation. So with that, I would like to introduce Guadalupe Ortiz-Cortez, Principal Planner, who's going to present the cases to you.
Thank you, Katie. Mayor, council members, Guadalupe Ortiz Cortez, Principal Planner. Before you is an authorization request to initiate an annexation. The annexation property is near the northeast corner of South Perryville Road and West Yuma Road. The aerial photo on the screen shows the location of the property. The red dashed line in red shows the city and county jurisdiction boundary. South of the property is Las Ventanas subdivision. North of the property is La Privada subdivision. Southwest of the property is a county island that is proposed to remain as a county island with existing homes and businesses. The property totals 31.4 acres and includes a 26.76 acre parcel that is proposed to be acquired by Dominion for the construction of a residential community. The annexation property also includes a future APS site and an existing single-family residence. The properties are currently zoned within the county as Rural 43, RU 43. Tonight, the applicant is seeking council's feedback and authorization to proceed with the annexation process. If the annexation is authorized, staff will address council feedback and prepare the annexation for public hearings before you in the future, as Katie mentioned. The first public hearing would be to hear any public input, and a second and final public hearing would be to decide if council would like to approve or not approve the annexation. At the conclusion of this presentation, staff will be seeking any input from you regarding whether or not staff should move forward with the possible annexation of the property. On the screen is the policy criteria used to review annexation applications. The policies include the ability to serve the property, long-term desirability, likelihood of the property would develop in the county, and general plan compatibility. The city's general plan designates the annexation property with a neighborhood land use designation, which provides areas for residential neighborhoods and community facilities. As mentioned, the existing county zoning for the annexation property is Rural 43. If annexed, the property would be designated the city equivalent zoning district of agricultural urban, AU. The Dominion site that is proposed would be required to go through the rezoning process to rezone the property for the proposed use. Additionally, the city is to consider the ability to provide the annexation property with basic services. The property is adjacent to South Perryville Road to the west. The applicant would be responsible for working with Maricopa County to coordinate improvement efforts along South Perryville Road. The property is also located adjacent to West Yuma Road. Yuma Road is within the city's jurisdiction. Thus, the applicant would be responsible for building the half-street improvements for Yuma Road. However, the annexation proposal does not include the hard corner of Perryville and Yuma Roads. And if it may present a challenge to work through, there could be a benefit to including the hard corner in the annexation area, which may be further explored if council authorizes the annexation to move forward. Currently, the city does not have water resources available to serve the property. However, the applicant has proposed a solution that would provide the water necessary to serve the property. If council authorizes the annexation to proceed, staff will work with the applicant on finalizing their plan to provide water resources as needed, such as with a pre-annexation development agreement. Staff is seeking council's policy advice on initiating the annexation of approximately 31.4 acres. A property located generally 600 feet east of the northeast corner of Perryville Road and Yuma Road. The annexation request is compatible with the general plan, and if necessary, water resources are provided to the city, and it would allow the property to develop up to city standards in proximity to properties already existing within the city of Goodyear jurisdiction. And as Katie mentioned, Authorizing staff to proceed with the annexation, does not commit the city council to approve the annexation when it comes back before you for public hearings. Mayor, council member, this concludes my presentation. The applicant is in attendance tonight.
Before I pass it on, I just want to reiterate, this process is just to authorize you to move forward. It does not mean the final authorizes us or binds us on approving the annexation. That's correct, right?
Thank you, Mayor, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'm going to open it up for discussion. And first one up is Councilmember Terry.
Thank you, Mayor. Just point of clarification, this area is within the City of Goodyear's planning area, is that correct?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Terry, that is correct.
Okay. And then again, another point of clarification similar to what the mayor just mentioned. Regardless of potential sites, potential zoning, the question before us today is just on the annexation part of, basically, are we interested in allowing city staff to have discussions about possibly annexing this area? Is that a proper understanding?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Hampton.
Yeah, thank you. So verify also, so if we go through all the 3 steps, we annex it, it'll go from county zoning, I'm just repeating what you already said, county zoning to agriculture use is what the city equivalent will be?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. The equivalent zoning of the rural 43, which is currently the zoning for the property, is AGU agriculture urban.
Okay, and that use can be, so it's not residential? There is some residential in the in that use. I didn't look at the definitions of what that zoning is.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. That is correct. AGU agriculture urban is a residential, a low-density residential zoning district.
Okay, and then in the future, if someone wants to do a project on, now it's been zoned, we went through the whole thing to where we're annexed in. At that point, there'd be a rezone request that would come forward for whatever project's that wants to go here.
That is correct. If a future proposal is to change the zoning from AGU to another zone district, that will come before the city council for review and approval.
Okay, so that'll be later, separate from this. This is just getting it to annexation, okay? And then, can you tell me what's east of that parcel right now? Is that County Island?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. East of the proposed annexation area is also La Privada property.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I wasn't clear. Okay. And then that little red area there, the existing residents there, if we annex all the way through, do they get, I don't think they're meeting our code right now. Would that be, they have to immediately have to meet our code compliance in that area?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. That is a great question. If we did annex the property in its existing condition, it would be grandfathered in with its use and its condition.
Must be as is. Okay. I know, like, I'm thinking of historic Goodyear, we had to go through and make sure all their carports were upgraded or met all the standards. So I was just curious, because like I said, I don't know if it meets our standards currently, so. But you said it would just be as is, we do annex it, stay as is, and they wouldn't have to change anything there.
Correct, we would accept it as is.
Okay, because if I remember right, I think it's just a bunch of trailers, essentially like fifth wheels and things like that. It's one house. Was it one house with the barn? Okay. Maybe I'm thinking a little far on the other side over there, near the County Island side. I apologize. Okay. Okay, one house with the barn. Okay, thank you for that. And then, do we know what the city of Buckeye is gonna be doing on the west there? I know we know that the last one, this isn't the same spot where the industrial is gonna be, or is it, am I getting confused with locations? This is farther south, right?
This is actually further south.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we know what city of Buckeye is planning for that area versus the industrial that farther north there?
I am not familiar, but I can follow up.
All right. I'm just curious if it's something like use or what that would feel like for that area. And then the water, there's no water that we currently have there that we've allocated, but you said they have a solution for whatever's gonna go there, water-wise?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. That is correct. The city does not currently have the water resources to serve the annexation property. However, the applicant does have a proposal that the Water Services Department has reviewed and seems acceptable. If council authorizes staff to proceed with the annexation, we can finalize those plans to acquire that water prior to final annexation.
Okay, yeah, and because I know we have policy, we're talking about water and uses for each parcel and things like that in the future, so. And is that water only gonna be for what they're thinking will go there now, or will it be for whatever might? I'm just curious how much water that parcel would carry.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton.
If they decide, if they say it's multifamily now, but maybe the conditions change and they're like, we guess we're not gonna do multifamily, we're gonna do industrial, or do something, we wanna change it to something more of a higher user there. Would that be a separate discussion with the water usage, or would there be enough there, or are we locked into only that use?
That is a great point, and it is definitely one that staff can evaluate if the application moves forward.
Okay, yeah, just curious on that. Okay, yeah, in general, yeah, I'm okay with because it's in our planning area already. If they have a water solution, I believe I'm okay with it. And is that resident in the red, do they want to be annexed in?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. I would defer that to the applicant, although I would mention that the annexation application would need to pass a two-thirds test per state statute, where more than 50% of the value and more than 50% of the property owners are accepting of the annexation.
Okay, so that person it doesn't really matter. I don't need them to come up. So it sounds like doesn't matter. They're not big enough to have a big voice to say no. They'd be annexed in, it looks like. Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have. Yeah, I'm okay with the annexation, so thank you.
Councilmember Kano?
I think anytime the word annexation comes up, especially a bigger parcel, we just have to take a pause and think about it, because there's a lot to consider. And certainly, as we've been talking a lot about Perryville Road lately, we seem to be bringing more of what is within our planning area into the city. So we're not reaching out beyond our borders to take in other land, but we're looking at land within our current planning area. It's interesting about this site, if it were to be developed in some way, our fire would still be committed to serving it because, mutual aid and such. So I think it'd be better to get some property taxes for it. Now, I see that Dominion is the potential user site, and we do have a very large Dominion project going on in Cotton Lane. I would like to hear from the applicant about what the vision is for that land. I realize you're not making a long-term commitment. This is very preliminary.
Whoops.
Ken?
I'm sorry, going into the specifics of the property, what the property might be used on is beyond the scope of this.
But it's listed as a Dominion project, and I think we should get clarification of what it looks like. I mean, is it as tall as the one we have? If she could just explain what the vision is without specific details.
City Attorney?
Okay.
Is that all right?
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Kano, council members. The applicant has submitted a rezone application to rezone the property from the AU equivalent zoning to the R1A single-family attached product. So that is, sorry?
Go ahead, go ahead.
However, I'll allow the applicant to go into further details about the project as it is currently still in review.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Wait, she's going to come
She's
up.
still
I'm not done.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
Good evening, Susan Demmett with Gamage and Burnham, 40 North Central in Phoenix. I do have a few slides, but I can try to answer these questions just verbally, and if you want to see the slides, we can pull those up.
Well, before you do that, would the slides go beyond, or?
I'm not, basically the zoning is probably submitted, but it's not before the council. And I think the question is, what can we expect at, in terms of the annexation, in terms of the demands on the city resources? So to the extent that the slides
Not on the agenda,
illustrate that, that would be fine.
If you want, yeah, if they could pull them up, I can just give you a little high-level color as to
that's why I deferred to the
the type
attorney,
of
make sure it's
development that's
okay.
proposed.
All right? Okay.
There. It's, right, okay. Next one up. No, other way, sorry. There you go, okay. So just very quickly, this is different from the Dominium project that you referenced up on Cotton. The concept here is using your single-family attached zoning. So it's 2-story duplex units throughout the site. Each unit would have its own private backyard space, a 2-car enclosed garage like a single-family home would have. Maximum density of 8 units per acre. I mean, again, just giving kind of high level. And a lot of this has come through our discussions and feedback with staff over the last year as to what fits within the area, what fits within, you've got the Luke Air Force Base graduated density concept in this area. And so that's really the concept. The units are planned to be, this is not specific to this project, but similar to this, they're designed to look a lot like a single family type product. Again, nothing more than 2 stories. Nothing, 8 units per acre would be the maximum that we would develop on the site. And so it's intended to be transitional to the single family and the PAD zoning that is in and around the site today, and bring this into the city with appropriate water resources. And we have in addition to the zoning case, we would also have a pre-annexation development agreement that would come forward with this and really spell out the details for infrastructure and things like that.
Great, I appreciate being able to just get a general idea of what the vision is so that I think it's helpful to us. Obviously, you have a lot of barriers you have to overcome yet that'll have to be addressed in order for us to really get down the road. Another comment I'd like to make is I don't like the little patchwork of that. I feel like we should look at the whole corner in totality. I realize there's challenges with that, but if staff is going to invest time and energy in this, I think we should look at the whole thing and see what it would take and what it would take to remediate that property as well. So I think that should be considered.
And we're willing to have those conversations with those property owners as well.
Great, thank you so much.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, so my question was, can you put the map back up that shows the Dominion border in yellow, please? Thank you. So no, that's not it, but that's close enough. That's fine, never mind. So does Dominion own the land now? Have they purchased it?
Thank you, Mayor. Vice Mayor, I will defer that to the applicant.
Is that a yes or no?
No,
Okay.
they are under contract to acquire the property, but they
Okay,
have not acquired
was
it.
there any discussion to not incorporate or not include that one property to the right?
The single-family
The
home?
single-family home, why are we bringing them in?
That was actually at the request of staff that we included that. It's a homestead for the family that owns, they're the sellers of the property, and that's their family homestead. And so we were asked to include that property and the APS site in our annexation request to bring all of that into the city. There's a single-family home on that site today. And I believe that's the one that Councilmember Hampton was inquiring about. It's the properties on the hard corner that are excluded from the yellow boundary that are a mishmash of trailers and I think kind of a parts yard and some other things. There's several property owners in that. I think there's 4 different property owners for the piece that's excluded, but the piece that was in red, we were asked to include that in our annexation request.
So if you include it and the property owners die, who gets that land? is it gonna revert back to Dominion, or does it revert back to the city?
Well, the family, I mean, it would stay
Yeah,
within the
see,
family.
I just don't like stuff like that. I don't like mixtures like that at all. It's not clean. So, but that's okay. I understand. I just wanted to know if y'all owned the property or what.
No, but the family that owns that, again, they're the seller of the property that Dominion is
And they want
buying.
to, they
and they
want
are
to keep their
supportive of-
property and sell the rest.
They're, right, they're
Yeah.
they're, because they still live there, and so
Okay.
they're supportive of having that annexed into
Okay.
the city.
All right, dear. Thanks very much. You answered my question. Thank you.
Councilmember Beckles?
Yeah, first of all, most of my questions were answered by others, but I just want to go on record as saying it feels like a lot to overcome, but I'm in favor of that first step.
You know, I've had discussions with staff. I'm in favor of the first step, no guarantees on the last step. But there's one area, and I've talked to staff about this in the past, that I think we're really lacking in the city. And I'm very disappointed at, I know it's some major challenges going through there, and it's not something I know that's going to be part of it now, but what we really don't have is owner-occupied, affordable housing. Somebody that can get in the game, build some equity, so when it comes time to retire, they've got something as opposed to renting all their life. So I would like to see more of it. I doubt it's not going to be part of this one, but, you know, from a staff standpoint, I would love to figure out how we can end up doing that, because without that, unfortunately, what happens is if they're renting all their life, they're not going to have a very successful when it comes time to retire if they've never been able, because how we build, and I know it worked for me, and I imagine it worked for a lot of us up here, how you build wealth
Equity,
is housing,
That's
owning
right.
houses. And if you don't get in the game and you can't buy and sell and improve it, then that equity and that wealth that you build over time just vanishes. There is none. So just for staff, you know, keep your eyes open for any projects that have that. I would be very interested in. And with that, since this is just the first step, I don't have a problem with it. So with that, let's open up for vote. Passes 6-0. Thank you. One last to consider, South Perryville Road annexation adjacent to La Privada, parcel 5. Again, introduce yourself to the public.
Thank you again, Mayor, council members. Guadalupe Ortiz Cortez, Principal Planner. Before you is a request to initiate an annexation. The annexation property is the eastern 33-foot wide section of South Perryville Road along La Privada subdivision. La Privada developer intends to dedicate the annexation property to the city as right-of-way and improve it according to city standards for a major plant arterial. Although the annexation property is proposed right-of-way, it is owned by La Privada developer in fee ownership, and as such, staff will follow the property annexation process for this application. The aerial photo shows the location of the property here in yellow. The rest of La Privada property highlighted in a faint yellow. And the dashed line in red shows the city and county jurisdiction boundary. Tonight, staff is seeking council's feedback and authorization to proceed with the annexation process. If the annexation is authorized, staff will prepare the annexation for public hearings before you in the future. Staff believes that the annexation will support the development of La Privada residential subdivision and allow the city to ensure its infrastructure standards are met. Staff is seeking council's policy advice on initiating the annexation of approximately 0.978 acres of property adjacent to La Privada subdivision. Mayor, council members, this concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? With that, council, please enter a motion and a second to authorize staff to initiate the annexation of approximately 0.978 acres of property along South Perryville Road, adjacent to La Privada, parcel 5. I see a motion and a second, open for discussion. First one up, Councilmember Hampton.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this to us again. Can you bring the map up again? My question is, I'm just one little parcel here, section, do we own the rest of Perryville? Do we have the rest of Perryville, or are we just little piece by little piece? I'm just curious.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. Unfortunately, the city does not own the rest of South Perryville Road. The property owner for La Privada owns the 33-foot eastern section of South Perryville Road, and that is a unique situation for the rest of South Perryville Road.
How about Amber Meadows or farther north, all the way to the freeway? Or is it gonna be a finished road and then dirt, and finished road, then dirt? I'm just curious if we need to annex more than just this section, if possible. And also, Ventanas down there, has that already been annexed? Are we good down there? I'm just curious what Perryville is gonna feel like when I'm driving down there, trying to get to my La Privada.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton. Within the City of Goodyear jurisdiction, the only developer that owns a part of South Perryville Road is the La Privada developer. The rest of the South Perryville Road alignment will be improved by Maricopa County, and I believe that, and staff can confirm the improvements of the planned major arterial.
Will that be done around the same time, or will it feel more like Yuma does right now, or other places where there's finished road, partial road, finished road, partial road? I'm just curious what it's gonna feel like over there. I know it's hard because we butt up against City of Buckeye there too. Maybe it'll feel like Indian School. I'm just curious.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilmember Hampton.
I guess I'm looking for more of the big picture of the road.
Like to phone a friend.
So, and if we need to annex anything along with this, that's all.
You have an excellent question. In the future, there may be some additional annexations coming before you. The intent of this annexation right now is La Privada is moving forward, and we would like them to develop to city standards. So there will be some instances right now that are caused, regardless of annexation or not, where the roads are fully improved and partially improved. But the goal with this annexation here, again, is that we want them to develop to our ultimate major arterial standards, and we would prefer they not develop to county standards.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with this one. I'm just looking at the bigger picture. If we need to include it, if we're already talking about annexing extra parts, like the hard corner down there, things like that, if there's anything else we need to be thinking about all of that along Perryville Road while we're thinking about this one, that's all. I 100% understand why you're doing it now, and it makes sense to do that standard. Just want to make sure we're looking big picture too at the rest of Perryville, because we'll be dealing with it eventually. So, all right, thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Christian, wait, don't leave. Because you can answer this. This is really simple. Why was that not included whenever when they built the entire La Privada out? It's kind of unusual that we're now piecemealing a road, which normally we do not do.
Correct. The long story short is that from back in the 30s, we never got right-of-way, nor did the county actually get right-of-way for a lot of these roads. So the underlying former farmers owned the property under the road. So now as it's getting ready to develop, it's time to actually have them give us the physical land under the road so we can convert it to right-of-way. It's a very weird, convoluted thing from back in the 30s. So that's why it's coming in piecemeal, is that they're ready to develop. So now is the time that they're gonna actually build it to our standards, that we wanna accept it to our standards.
Well, I had heard that story, but I didn't believe it, but now I have to believe it, so.
Believe me, staff wishes it wasn't true, because we got a lot of work on it.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Councilmember Kano.
Well, along that line and in line with the questioning that Councilmember Hampton have about the big picture of Perryville Road. So looking between the La Privada and on down to Yuma, would that eventually be developed to our standards as well?
That would be the intent, is that they get annexed in and developed to our standard.
Okay, and that the applicant would take that responsibility? Okay, as well as on Yuma Road?
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kristen. I don't have anything else to add. With that, let's open up the vote. Passes 7-0. Thank you. All right, with that, does the council have any comments, commendations, or reports of current events or requests for future agenda items?
I do.
Well, let me go down here and we'll work this way.
Okay.
Councilmember Beckles.
Yes, I've known and recognized that our Goodyear Police Department is very busy keeping our city safe, and it's all in the day's work. But I'd like to recognize them and praise them for helping out a family when Hop and Hops ended suddenly, and there was wind and there was rain, and a particular couple that was parked right in front of me safely put their kids in the car and put them in their car seat and locked the kids in the car
Oh,
Safely.
safely, but the keys were in the car.
oh.
As everybody was leaving, Goodyear Police were able to get in, and we had 3 or 4 police cars there right away to assist these very distressed parents because their kids were in the car, and so were the keys, and it was raining and it was windy, and they got everything taken care of quickly and safely. Thank you.
Oh, good job. Anything else?
Well, I was just going to comment on hip hop because it was, I think the best one, the hops was the best one we've had. The way the layout was done, they had the food trucks up by the building. They had all of the bouncy houses way down, like on first base, away. So we had plenty of room to move around. They had music going. Kids were dancing. They were having such a good time. And the Easter egg hunt was to die for. And several parents stopped me and thanked me for the adaptive Easter egg hunt that we put on for the first time. And it really was very much appreciated. Now, I know the city manager said only 3,000 people were there, but honestly, to me, there was a lot more than 3,000. I've never seen so many people. They were everywhere. And I stayed till it started raining, and I got borrowed. Somebody gave me a black plastic bag to put over my head. And I know that should have had a picture. But it was wonderful, and the staff really went out of their way. It was so well planned, and it was, I just thank Parks and Rec and everyone involved. It was just a wonderful event, and everyone had a great time. Rain and wind, it doesn't matter. It was just wonderful. So thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 2 things. So I was over at the 200th State Capitol that night, and I was at the 250th year anniversary of Paul Revere's ride, and because next year is the 50th year of America. So yeah, so that was a great event. A lot of cultural things, a lot of good booths, a lot of good events there too. And then I know you're all at. I don't want to steal from the mayor here, but the Solid Rock was a great event with. A lot of residents came out to see it, to welcome Alice Cooper Solid Rock Teen Center to Goodyear, which I'm very, very excited to welcome them to city. I think it'll be a great addition to our city, the feel, the culture of our city as well, and on promoting all the young musicians and artists, and they'll be coming out of that institute here in the future. So great event, and yeah, that's where I was. So thank you.
Yeah, it's been a great 3 days. First part is Mobile. For over 2 years now, we've been working on a project that would put safety fences around the school. And it took literally multiple villages, not just one village, to make it happen. You know, we had the Gila River Indian community, we had CORE, we had their vendors, we had Sweat Equity by their vendors, we had city staff coordinating all this. Took 2 years, and I'm not even sure, I don't even think it cost a dime for the city. We got all volunteers for this and money coming in. And as a result of the kickoff, that we actually, one of the vendors came in and saw that the kids still had dirt playground and felt so bad he went ahead and grassed all of it and then put also a drip system throughout it. So the kids had a place now to play on grass. You thought they would die and went to heaven. They were sitting there, climbing all over the grass and doing angels on the grass and whatever. I mean, it was really nice to see. I had mentioned to the people there that if only our federal government and some of our other governments would figure out, if you all come together for a general purpose to make an input on a positive input for your community, it can be done. And that's proof of what we did down there. Second thing is I thought the Solid Rock Teen Center was just awesome. I know the manager is going to give us a count on there, but to me, I had so much fun there with Allison. You know, the guy had shingles and he's up there playing on stage. All right, I don't know how he did it, but it was awesome. And there were several of us up there on stage singing the last song. So we can always tell our kids or grandkids that we sang with Alice Cooper on stage, which was awesome. We can put that on our resume. But anyway, it was a great time. Really enjoyed it. We got great press on that. And earlier in that day, we did a ribbon cutting, me and the vice mayor did for a preschool. The only thing we didn't do, we didn't ask them what the cost was because they took them from infants to all the way to kindergarten, right? So it was a lovely place in there. So met Mr. Bubbles, yes, that was a good one there as well. So we had a great time last few days, and I can't say enough about our community that steps up and helps others. I mean, I think we got the best community going out there. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. Manager.
Well, thank you, Mayor. As you mentioned, Alice Cooper's Teen Center opened this weekend. I think we have to up our game a little bit on number counts and stuff, it sounds like, on Hop and Hops. I have 1,300 guests there, but the mayor counted 2,000, so we'll just go with the mayor's number on that one. But yeah, the teen center was packed continuously with the tours and everything that were going through there, the food trucks. And again, it was a free concert with Alice Cooper. So a lot of fun. I did see the pictures of all of you up there singing on stage. So good job. And also, we had the Goodyear Night Market this weekend. 1,500 participants or residents joined us for that, 40-plus artisan vendors and 15 food trucks. So, again, I want to echo, our staff does a great job at working on all of these events, and I so appreciate everyone's help in keeping the traffic flowing, everyone's safe. Out there. You're all awesome, and thank you for everything that you do.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we have a rock and roll city manager with, what was it, black leather? Rock on. It's up there on stage. So, so I don't know if we have any other managers in the West Valley that rock like ours does. But anyway, we had a great time there. So with that, I close it all up. When's our next meeting? The next meeting will be May 5th. Okay, no further business. This one's over.